This week's children's message is chapter 6 of the story for children, Wandering, and I am here with Elise and Greta. You want to say hello, girls?
Hi.
Okay. Now, God's rules and laws were perfect, but God's people were not. They wanted to obey the laws, they wanted to live holy lives, but they still made some bad choices and sometimes did the wrong thing. When they thought God had left them, they made their own god, a calf made out of gold. God was very angry. But when the people said they were sorry, God forgave them. The Israelites prepared a special tent for God called a tabernacle. Can you say tabernacle?
Tabernacle.
Yeah, it's like a tent. It's a fancy name for a tent. God placed a cloud over the tabernacle during the day, and at night he appeared as fire. Day or night, the people could see a sign of God's presence as he led them through the wilderness. God provided for his people as they made their way to the land of Canaan.
G for me.
G, that's right, like Greta. God's brave explorers. After traveling in the wilderness, Moses and the Israelites reached the edge of Canaan, the land God had promised his people. The weary travelers were excited to know their journey was almost over. Moses called the people together. All right, everybody, before we enter the promised land, we have to send explorers in to learn about the land and the people who live there. Moses chose 12 explorers, gave them instructions. Go south, then to the mountains, he said. See what the land looks like. Is the soil rich for planting? Are there a lot of trees? Are the people strong or weak? What are their towns like? Are they open like camps, or do they have walls? The 12 explorers packed up, and off they went. They searched, they looked, they investigated for 40 days. Then they returned to Moses with a report. The land is awesome, said the explorers. The soil is good for planting. Just taste these wonderful fruit we found, the grapes, the pomegranates, the figs, and they shared the treasure with the people. The Israelites couldn't wait to enter the land. Excitement grew among the people. But when Moses asked about the Canaanites who lived in the new land, the explorers began to disagree. 10 were fearful. They told the others, we can't go in there. The cities are huge, and they have tall walls around them. And the people are big and strong. Some are big as giants. They'll kill us if we try to take their land, they cried. The fears of the 10 explorers quickly spread through the camp. We were better off back in Egypt, living as slaves, the people protested. But 2 explorers, Caleb and Joshua, were not afraid. They were strong and brave. They trusted God. Hey, everybody, we can do it. We can take the land because the Lord is on our side. Don't be afraid of the people. They have no protection. We have the Lord. Despite all the good things God had done for his people, they didn't believe Caleb and Joshua. And God was angry with the Israelites for their lack of faith. Moses pleaded with God to forgive the people. God listened to Moses and agreed to forgive, but he didn't allow his people to enter the land, not for 40 days, not for 40 weeks, and not for 40 months, 40 years.
Why?
Because they didn't trust Caleb and Joshua that God would protect them when they went into the land.
So they couldn't go until 40 years?
40 years.
Look. Why?
It's a long...
Is that how long it would take them?
It's because they were unfaithful.
Guys,
they didn't think that God would protect them.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm talking. A cute little lizard.
Yes, there is a cute little lizard there. Moses tried to be a good leader. He carefully followed God's instructions. He helped the people remember all of God's rules. When the Israelites grumbled, he tried to be patient, but Moses didn't always succeed. The Israelites could not find water in the desert. Which makes sense, right? The desert, there's not a lot of water. Well, once again, the people forgot how God had provided for them throughout their journey. They fussed and they complained. They blamed Moses. We'll die in the desert if he doesn't find water. We should have stayed in Egypt. Moses listened. Then, as always, he went to God. He asked God to provide water for the people. God answered his prayer. Gather the people around, God instructed. Take your walking stick and go to a rock I'll show you. Talk to the rock and the water will flow. Moses and his brother Aaron gathered the people who were still griping and grumbling. Moses got angry and he lost his temper. He shouted at the people for not trusting God. Then Moses smacked the rock twice with his stick. Immediately, Water gushed out, enough for all the people and animals. The people received what they needed, but Moses was punished for his action. Moses had disobeyed God and hadn't given him the credit for the miracle. God said, "Because you didn't believe me and because you didn't honor me as holy before the people, you will not lead them into the land I will give them." Moses remained the leader of the people of Israel, but because of his mistake, his leadership ended at the edge of the promised land.